So welcome to today's Buyer's Course class number 1. We are going to be covering some great information today, and we also have 4 additional classes that follow this one if you're interested at the end of this class, and we'll get you the information at the very end. This class is being recorded, and the fates willing, it will be sent to you within a couple of hours at the end of the class so that you will have the screens, you'll have the dialogue that we're covering, and you'll have the recording if you want to listen to it again. So welcome, and we're glad you're here. Is everybody ready to learn?
We are.
All right, yes. Great. Terrific. So we're going to do a little bit of a webinar summary to start. What are we going to be looking at? We're going to be looking at why working with buyers is good. We hear so much about never work with buyers. Why is working with buyers good? We're going to talk about finding and qualifying buyers. We're going to talk about how not to scare buyers off nor qualify them out too soon. I'm going to give you 4 best questions to use when you start working with a buyer. That alone is worth spending the time with us today. We're going to talk today about how to build trust. It is a balance building trust, and so we're going to give you some great tips and tools on building trust. And we're going to tell you a little bit about why you might want to take the rest of the class, a little sneak peek. So again, today's class is free. 4 more follow-up classes when added to this one make the full 5 weeks of our Buyer's Course. I am getting a little feedback, so if anybody thinks it might be you heavy breathing, just do a *6, and you can *6 and unmute yourself. But I'd love to have everybody stay on the call so we can do two-way communication. So what I hope to accomplish today is to show you some really good content and to help you make the good decision at the end of this to buy the rest of the class. The class is $197 when it's purchased by the general public, but being on this webinar, you're going to be offered a deep, deep, deep discount. So hang on to the end for the discount. You know, why is working with buyers so good? Because we have the whole world to sell and the perfect product. The perfect product, of course, is a house. Everyone needs to live somewhere. Everyone needs to live somewhere. And buying has never been a better investment than it is right now. So a great tip number 1 is write this down to use with everyone you meet who doesn't own a house. You ready? Everybody is paying a mortgage. Are you paying yours or your landlord's? Ooh. Everybody is paying a mortgage. Are you paying yours or your landlord's? Really great thought-provoking line that you can use with everybody who does not own a home. Really important. So you may have heard in the past that listings are the name of the game, or list to last in this business. But what I'd like us to do is let's agree to be more interested in the advantages, methods, and benefits of working with buyers for the next hour. Are we agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed. Okay. Because that phrase of list to last is right and wrong. For some people, listings are great. For others, they hate listings, and we're going to talk a little bit about why, and they love buyers. But let's just be interested in working with buyers. So some of the advantages and benefits of working with buyers. A hot pre-qualified buyer today can be a sale today with income in a very short period of time. So if you need money right now, a buyer is closer to that money. Does that make sense? Yes, for all of you on mute. The buyer lead inventory, as you begin to build a buyer lead inventory, if that inventory is followed up and followed through properly, there's low stress and pressure now, and most people you meet will buy something one day. No, I've not changed my audio options above the chat. Can other people still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. For something happened. For some people, but they can dial back in. Schedule and timing. Now, if you take a listing,
I'll see you later.
Hi, Margarita. You want to mute your phone? Schedule and timing. That's okay. Listings, once hired, you're on call 24/7 for that seller. You sign a listing agreement that says, I will be working for you until your listing is sold. So you're technically on call all the time with a listing. But buyers can be handled with time off after, right? You can handle a buyer and you're not expected to be on 24/7. Buyers actually show off your product for easy referring to you. Every time they bring someone home, there's an opportunity for them to refer to you about the purchase of their property. Sellers leave your product when you sell it. Another benefit is that buyers are plentiful. You can find them easily and quickly now. So this is 5 good reasons to work with buyers. If you need money right now, a qualified buyer can be the answer. So what this course is going to teach you, we're going to cover where to find buyers. Next week we cover what the danger signs are from buyers that you don't want. And I'm not talking about physical danger. I'm talking about, although that's been on our news the last few weeks, I'm talking about the danger signs from someone who's going to waste your time. We're going to cover that in next week's call. We're going to talk about a follow-up system, how to create a system that really works so that you get buyers continuously coming to you over and over and over and over again forever. We're going to teach you how to 100% qualify for both motivation and financially. We're going to cover one whole week, week 3, on a buyer's presentation, how to create and perform a buyer's presentation that results in commitment to you and an educated buyer that makes a great offer. We're going to help you with creating urgency on how to get buyers to act now. We're going to actually tell you specifically how to show buyers with methods that stop wasting your time and get them to choose a property right away. We're going to help you to write better offers and create bragging rights so that buyer is proud of this purchase that they're making and will talk to it and brag about it to others. Buyers are not liars. They just don't have enough information. We're going to go into that quite deeply so that you know what information to bring to buyers. The Deep 5 Whys exercise, very important in your qualifying and in your objection handling. Tell the truth when it's okay to tell them if it's better to rent. Some people it's better to rent than buy. When we tell them the truth, they're going to refer others to us. Minimum standards. We do not have to work with everyone. Having minimum standards is critical if you're going to work with buyers. Have them, stick to them. You see, most of us don't need 100 buyers a year. We just need a dozen or 3, and that can earn us a great living. I'm going to teach you how to be grateful for the problems, to embrace them, and to look at them as the job security that they are. I think Roberta's on this call. They're the hurdles to get over that teach us something and cause us to create systems in our business that make it easier and easier and easier. We're going to teach you how to create a smooth transaction so that the stress that comes from buying and selling is reduced. Normal that they're stressed. Oh, I got somebody loud. Normal that they're stressed, not normal that you're stressed. Okay, I'm sorry you guys are having some trouble with the audio. Keep dialing back in. Keep dialing back in. Sorry about it. I think the rest of you are okay. All right, good. So that's what we're going to be covering in the class, the 5 weeks of the class. So I'm going to start by the statement. Success is doing what you said you'd do with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. Somebody, I'm getting background noise. If you think it's you, star 6. I'll have to mute the call if we don't have, if we can't get it under control. Still loud.
You are now muted.
Okay, apologize for that. You're going to have to use the the chat box or the question box to communicate. I'll try and turn it back on in a few minutes. There was office noise in the background. Success is doing what you said you'd do with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. Give that some thought. Let it sink in. You see, success isn't 12 deals a year or 24 or 36 or 136. It's simply doing what you said you would do and doing that thing you said you would do with a clarity, knowing why you are doing it, with a focus, not allowing stuff to get in the way, with ease rather than with angst and stress, and with grace, being grateful for this job and the ability to change people's lives with what we do. And that's what we do when we're working with buyers and sellers. We're changing people's lives. We're going to look at it that way, and we're going to bring something different to our business. So let's start with some nitty-gritty. Where to find buyers. Where do we find buyers? There are 11 ways here to find buyers. Okay, sign calls. If you have listings or working on a team from listings, it's one of the best places that you can get business is listed properties. You can get that from the sign. You can get it from mailings. You can get it from a text writer on the top of the sign. There are lots and lots of ways that listings create buyers. So if you are not a listing agent in any way at all, you may want to hook up with a listing agent that will allow you to take the buyers from their listings. Okay? Many other agents will work other agents' listings, sign call listings, for a flatter referral fee. All right, number 2, networking, net weaving. We have to be out there looking. What's in it for you versus them? What's in it for them is what we want to be focusing on when we're in networking and net weaving. Open houses. I know agents that are making over $200,000 a year with only open house leads. Now that's a piggyback onto the sign call, but if you can find open houses to sit and you don't have leads otherwise, it's a good source. Listing agents that don't want them will give or refer them to you. You can use a Facebook page. We actually have a $47 system in our 3D cart for, and you can just email me and let me know if you're interested in getting that, on how to use Facebook to find buyer leads. Facebook or Google Ads can find leads. Facebook or making a Facebook page for a particular neighborhood or area. Your database. One of my personal favorites, and I teach a whole course on your database. Repeat and referral business is yours if you treat that database correctly and ask for the business. I did a survey once of 100 real estate agents all doing over 100 transactions. 80% of their business was coming from their database. It's a really great place to be getting business if you're using it correctly. Cold call. I have a house to sell. Do you know a buyer? Or vice versa. I have a buyer. Do you have a house to sell? Either way. I have a house to sell. Do you know a buyer? I'm looking for a buyer. So you're going to piggyback on one of these listing agents and make cold calls in the area. For sell by owners. You know, for sell by owners only need one buyer. And they will often give you the ones that don't want their house for a fair trade. We're going to spend some time on fair trade. What is a fair trade? Self-marketing. Wear your name tag all the time. Give out a certain number of business cards every day as part of your plan to everyone. Marketing materials with your contact info. So you can do some self-marketing and get business. I got a listing, my highest listing ever at the time, because I had a car sign on my car. The guy left his business card under my window wiper and said, I need to list my home. And you're in my area because your car is here. Called him, listed his house. It was almost double my highest ever list price just by self-marketing. You can also buy leads. So I'm going to spend a couple minutes on this buying leads because there are a lot of online providers that you can pay a monthly fee, a per lead fee, or a percent of your closed deals. But I wrote the word slippery slope here because this is a slippery slope. I can't tell you how many clients that I work with that are paying way too much for leads that they're not even following up on. We can get into a rut of saying, hey, I want to get 100 leads a month. And I'm here to tell you, you don't want 100 leads a month. You don't want 50 leads a month. You want 10 really good ones a month, and you're going to get them from some of these other sources. You don't want to be wasting time with buyers that aren't going to buy. So I have a list of websites and sources: Agent Pronto, Agents Ranking, Agent Machine. Agent Machine is working really well for my husband right now. It's a referral fee, no monthly cost. Sales Genie, I believe John's using Sales Genie. Lots of people use Realtor.com, Trulia, and Zillow. The problem is they are expensive monthly fees. And almost every agent I know, quite frankly, has stopped using these, except, and here's the exception, for those agents that are doing over 100 transactions a year. What they're doing is they're adding to what they're getting from all these other sources by investing in that, and they have a staff that pre-qualifies and works with those buyers. It's not them by themselves. This is an addition to their other stuff because it takes a lot of time to go through the many, many leads. So it's a slippery slope. Are you neglecting people who like and trust you for leads that don't? That's the question to ask you when you're thinking about buying. Are you neglecting the people who like and trust you? That's the people in your database. That's the people in your networking. That's the people who you meet at an open house. That's the people who like you on Facebook. Are you neglecting those people to work with people who don't know you or trust you? So we're going to talk about the trust triangle in a little bit, and that's an important thing for you we're going to get to that. I recently read an article on Realtor Magazine website, and this quote I want to read you about buying leads. We came to believe that purchasing online leads was like running on a hamster wheel. Leads varied from somewhat reliable to absolutely useless, depending on the companies we bought from, and we knew they'd drop to zero the moment we stopped paying for them, the monthly fee. We realized we could invest half as much money as we were paying to them and generate twice as many leads long term by building our own systems. Okay. Overall, buying leads is a stopgap measure if you wish to generate business immediately. In the long term, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You want to create your own systems to generate leads so you can stop paying those fees and stop paying those referral fees. Ultimately, it's smarter for brokers and agents to focus on investing in those platforms and systems that will generate long-term business themselves. So that's what I have to say about buying leads. And I know every one of you's got a story about leads that you bought and it worked for you. Long-term, you want to have a system that you're not having to do that on. So let's jump to, we've got a buyer lead. All right, we've talked about where to find them. So now we've got one, yay. What are the 3 common mistakes agents make at this point? So mistake number 1 is scaring them off, like being too intense, asking too many personal questions right up front. Scares them off. Or being too unprofessional scares them off. Number 2 mistake is qualifying them out too early. Many times a buyer is not going to answer your questions correctly because they don't know you and trust you yet. And I see people throwing good leads away because that lead is not ready to make a decision today or this week, this 7 days, or is not willing to tell you personal information up front. Number 3 is you don't want to waste your time working on an unqualified lead. So the mistake here is working with leads that are unqualified. So what do you do? Because these things kind of run against each other here. Now, I love the little graphic Denise put in, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, bye. So what do we do? So let's get into exactly what you do. If you've got to call in on a property, start with, that's a great property. Show some energy, some enthusiasm, some passion about your business. I don't care if the property they called on is not that great or if it's even already sold. We want to create some enthusiasm. And here's a clue, guys. Give them the information that they want. Don't be beating around the bush forever. Many of us were taught you don't ever tell them what they called for. You just keep asking more questions. That goes back to this slide. You're scaring them off. Okay? So make sure that you give them the information that they want. It's okay to ask 1 or 2 questions while you're pulling up that property now, but give them what they asked for in a reasonable time. And then follow with a question. Is that the size, price, area that you're looking for? You see, you might think it's a good thing, like a big yard's a good thing, but they may want no yard. Okay? Is a yard of that size something you're looking for? Okay, follow with that question. No assuming allowed in this section. All right? So that's when they call on a property. The second thing to understand is that data is power. Without their contact information, we don't have anything other than we just wasted the last couple of minutes. Okay? Data is power. We've got to get their contact information, and this is where the fair trade comes in. What do they want that you can offer as a fair trade? Okay? They want information on a house. For me to get you that information, look, I've got a great fact sheet here. I'd like to get it over to you by email. What's your email address? That's a fair trade. Okay? They want to know if it's better for them to rent or buy. You know what? I have a really cool Excel spreadsheet that has a rent-buy analysis. I'd like to get that over to you. What's the best way? Can I drop it off, or could I email it to you, or would mailing it to you be better? Okay. What else do they want? They want special deals. They want special financing. They want no down payment deals. They want foreclosures. You have to figure out what is it that they want that you have that you can offer as a fair trade. Guys, one thing that they don't want is being set up on an auto email. Doesn't mean that you're not going to use an auto email, but it's not something that they're all jumping at because everybody can give it to them. What do you have that you can offer as a fair trade to get their data? You see, once we have their data, we can continue to follow up on them. What I like to point out at this point, how much is their information worth to you? Well, if you look at it as it's worth a sale, that information is worth thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. If you look at it as what would I pay for a good lead, it might be $5 or $10. I will tell you that if you go into any Kohl's across the country, they will give you a $5 or $10 or $20, depending on the season, off. They will give you money off your next time in the store to purchase in exchange for your email. Just your email address. How many stores are doing that? Really important. The data is power. The next thing we want to look at is trust. You see, before selling, we must effectively build trust, and trust takes time. Darn. We don't want to spend time. Well, you can spend time on one call and still build trust. I mean, but think about it, guys. If someone introduced themselves to you and began asking incredibly personal questions, how much do you make? Where do you live? Can you afford this? What are your bills? Before asking incredibly personal questions, and they asked you to commit to working with them and them alone, before you even knew them, what would you do? You see, many agents, in the interest of not wasting time, make the mistake of asking too much too soon. No, I don't want you swinging the pendulum all the way to the other side and be showing buyers homes without qualifying and getting a commitment. That's not only a time waster, it can be dangerous. But there is a step in between that's often missed, and that's spending some time building trust. This is the trust triangle. You see, we want them to buy, and we want them to buy from us, and we don't want to waste valuable time. So how do we build trust? All initial relationships start with an awkward stage. It starts with somebody making the attempt to make some small talk and get past the awkwardness. That takes initiative and courage. Okay? This is where we spend spend a few seconds to a few minutes in small talk to begin to build rapport. If this is skipped, this critical step could prevent you from having the foundation to get to trust. The next step is to get into meaningful dialogue. Okay, we take the conversation to some meaningful dialogue. This is where we begin to ask deeper questions and be interested in the reply and give your opinion when you're asked for it. Once we've done that, we've got a connection. We can get into appreciation, and acceptance, and that's where we've earned the right to ask for their contact information with a fair trade. You see, not until we get in the top of the trust triangle can we ask for the data. How long does this take? For some people, it's 2 or 3 or 5 minutes on the phone. For others, it may take 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 phone calls. All right? But we want to get as quickly as we can up the trust triangle, beginning with this. Okay? If we're trying to get to trust without having some meaningful dialogue and we're not having success, there's a good reason why. Okay? So let's go to the initial 4 questions. The questions to ask before anything else. And this is really important. These questions were designed specifically to give you answers to more than one question. All right? So do you have an agent? Question number 1. Do you have an agent I can copy this info to for you? Do you have an agent that I can copy this info to for you? You see, we're not asking this for the purpose of qualifying them out, but for a reason that would actually help them. You see, if I were to ask a potential buyer, are you working with another agent? What does it sound like I'm trying to do? I'm not trying to help you at all if you're working with another agent. So then they lie to you and say no. Right? So if we ask them in this way, do you have an agent I can copy this info to for you, we find out if they have an agent and we're being helpful. Okay? What else do we find out? Do they know their agent's name? Because now we're asking if we can copy this info to their agent, they better know their agent's name. Well, if they don't know their agent's name, they may not actually have an agent. The third thing we're asking is their agent's information. Do they have information for you to be able to send? How well do they know their agent? How connected are they? So that one question gets you a ton of information, shows how professional you are, offers help rather than sounds like something you're trying to get rid of them for. Number 2, how long have you been looking for a property and have you seen any that you really liked? Okay, another loaded question. Is this a looky-loo that looks at property all the time and never buys anything? Or is this somebody who just got into town last week? Okay, have you seen any you really liked allows you to find out if they have an agent they're working with again. If they say yes, I saw something I really liked, we have to ask them, why didn't you buy that one? Because some of the answers might be, well, the lender says I won't qualify for it. Or they say, oh, well, I'm not really looking to buy anything. I saw lots I liked, but I'm not ready to buy. Okay? You learn why they aren't working with the agent that showed them before. You'll learn a lot from asking this question. So number 3, why is now the right time to be buying property? We've got to be quiet after we ask that question and listen to the answer. Cover your own mouth if you need to. If you're away from them in person, if you're over the phone. Why is now the right time to be buying property? And question number 4, will you be paying cash or are you financing the property purchase? Not have you been qualified with a lender. Will you be paying cash or financing the property purchase? We are going to ask them the lender question, but not yet. All of these questions are designed to create more than one answer. I'm going to try and open up the call control for a second and see if anybody has any questions.
You are now unmuted.
I can hear you.
That's why they're moving. Yeah, they found a house, and
You are now muted.
That didn't work because somebody's talking. All right, got it. With these answers, this begins to unlock the first steps of trust. We know enough to know if you want to move forward with this person. Hope that makes sense to you. Sorry, we have some people on the line that are talking. So put your computers on, put your chat message questions in, and we'll be watching that. So who do we all want to work with? Think about this. We want to create ourselves into that agent that people want to work with. That's important. We want to work with someone who has market knowledge. We want to work with someone who knows the numbers. We want to work with someone who wows us. It's not enough to just give the facts. We want to work with someone who wows us. We want someone who is willing to give good advice and who proves they are trustworthy. You know, that is a really important part, that proving you are trustworthy. To prove you are trustworthy, we're doing something to earn trust. We're taking actions. We're making promises and keeping them. To begin to be trustworthy, we may have something, for example, that says, let me call you back in 5 minutes, and then you call them back in 5 minutes. The act of calling them back at the time you told them you would call them back is a trust-building exercise. When you say, I'm going to put it in the mail today, and it goes in the mail today, that's a trust-building exercise. Okay? It's keeping your promises is how to build trust. So let's look at each one of these other items that are what people want to work with. So number one, we talk about market knowledge. You see, buyers want people who know the area that they want to buy in, and they know it well. So here's a little key tip. The smaller the area, the easier it is to know well, the easier it is to be an expert, the easier it is to make sales. When you're trying to work a larger area and have a lot of general knowledge, and you have low confidence in yourself and others have low confidence in you, there's a professionalism issue at hand, and we have less success. So I threw a couple of things on the screen for you as an example, and I know you can't read them, but you can request either in the chat or you can request by email at the end of the call, and I'm happy to send these to you. On the left, this is the stages of the market that teaches a buyer with how many months of remaining inventory, whether it's a seller's market, a neutral market, a buyer's market, or a weak market. Okay? So having something explaining to people about the market stages, how the months of remaining inventory has affected the market historically, that's becoming an expert in the market. And on the right, I have a sample of a CMA template that we use to show buyers that we're not guessing on their offer price. We are actually creating exactly the price they should be offering on the property, regardless of the list price. All right? So this is an incredibly important slide for you to be looking at, because we've got to be previewing property like crazy and studying the market stats and doing CMAs and testing ourselves on our predictions on CMAs. You see, this is how you do market knowledge. Write this down. Go look at the market. Preview like crazy. Study the market stats. Do the CMAs. Test yourself on your predictions. You see, this is how we wow them with market knowledge. Go look at the areas and price ranges you want to work. Nothing excites a potential buyer better than finding an agent that knows the homes that they may want to buy. When they say to you, I am interested in this area, and you could say, oh, I was in a couple of those houses yesterday. Oh my gosh, this kitchen in one of them is incredible. They want you because you know homes that they may want. You see, you have to be the conduit between the home that they want and being able to buy it. Number 2 here, market stats. You got to study them and be able to quote them backwards and forwards. Let me give you an example. You know, John, 7 to 10 homes list in this school district each month normally, but that's dropping. Last month there were only 4 new homes that listed, and when inventory drops, prices tend to come up fast. So choosing something quickly could mean instant equity if that trend continues. You see, if I didn't know that 7 to 10 homes list in this high school district every month, I couldn't quote that. That's how you wow them with market knowledge. CMAs, practice and test yourself. How close were your predictions? When you get really good, your confidence soars. Here's another important thing. What was the peak of the market in this neighborhood and what was the bottom? And where are we now in that range? Because we know that each peak is going to exceed the previous peak. Where is that gap for equity? That's a great piece of market knowledge to be sharing with your buyers. Knowing the values of the past, present, and trends is what the buyer wants from you. So here's the homework on this. Study 5 hours a week for 5 weeks. That's an hour a day for 5 weeks. And in your smaller area, you will know everything there is to know about that market. Put it on your calendar. Put it in your schedule. 1 hour a day, 5 hours a week for 5 weeks. The buyers will sense your confidence and want to hire you. An hour a week after that could be enough for you to keep it there forever. This will give you the confidence that you need that the buyers will intuitively want to work with you on. Know the numbers. Know the numbers, because when you know the numbers, it builds confidence. Buyers want someone who knows the numbers. This is largely the biggest financial transaction they will do in their life. You can't wing it and expect a waiting line of buyer referrals. You just can't do it. Wow them with your knowledge of dollars. How much down and how much a month? Get that so you know it backwards and forwards. What if the rate is 0.25% higher or lower? How would that affect it? Get and learn to seamlessly use a financial calculator. I guarantee they will be impressed. They cannot do it on their own calculator. And that again means that they need you. You're the person between the information and the solution. Wow them with your knowledge of basic tax benefits. What is a mortgage interest deduction? What does that do for them? How does that affect them? What are the benefits in investing in real estate? And again, that line, everyone is paying somebody's mortgage. Is it yours or your landlord's? Let's go to good advice. Good advice was on that list. Too many of us have been taught in real estate sales that we never ever give opinion, and I am telling you, people are thirsty for your opinion. However, you have to know enough to give that opinion with authority. All that we've been talking about, the market knowledge, the market statistics, okay, the pricing information, the interest rate information, the tax information. If you've got confident and informed opinions, do not be afraid to give them. They want someone who's going to help guide them. That does not mean you tell them what to do. It means that you tell them what you know. The balance, of course, is not telling them what to do, what's right and wrong for them. Yet somebody who walks in and says, well, I don't know, what do you think? Is never going to get somebody else's trust. It's okay to say, these are the two sides to look at, what's best for you, and understanding what those two sides are. So what's next in the buyer's class? What's next in class number 2 and 3 and 4 and 5? We're going to talk about how and when to qualify buyers. how to use problems to your advantage, who the 4 types of buyers are, how to get the best offers from those buyers and how to get them accepted, what the 3 steps are that you're going to want to look at before you even use the 4 questions we gave you today. We're going to spend a whole call on the buyer presentation, a whole webinar. And yes, you will get the slides from that and the slides from every webinar that we do. What are the danger signs so that we're not wasting time with buyers that are not going to buy? We're going to show you how to show property to actually cause a sale to occur and teach you how to sell in this class. We're going to talk about creating closings that create referrals to you immediately and how to wow during that pending process to lead to that great closing. There are 5 additional hours of information in this buyer's class, 4 additional hours of information in this buyer's class, 5 hours total. You will get every slide presentation, every recording, and all you have to do to get that is to sign up for the class. So when are the classes? They will be Thursdays at this same time. Next week, October 9th, is Class 2. We will skip a week because we're going to be teaching in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania the next week. So we will come back and have Class 3, 4, and 5 on October 23rd, 30th, and November 6th. What does it cost? If you are a current coaching client, email me and I will tell you with your plan how much it costs. Okay? Very little. And for many of you, it's free. The normal public price, and the price will be at this price after tomorrow, is $197. Today, your discounted price for today's free call plus the other 4 calls is $98.50. You know, at $197, it's $39 per class. That's a pretty good deal all by itself. With the discount, we're down to $19.70 a class for the 5 classes. That deal ends tomorrow. So how do you sign up? You can either write this down right now, bit.ly/abuyerscourse, and that will take you to the web page to sign up. Or you can check your email for the link. As soon as this recording is processed, we will send you both the recording and a link to sign up for the course. And if you don't get it or you have questions or comments, you can get me at donna.stott@mac.com. I hope you enjoyed today's class. I look forward to having you all involved in the remaining class. I'm going to turn the recording off. I'm going to leave the screen up, and you can ask questions that will not be on the recording. I'm going to turn the call controls back on, and unless we have a lot of background noise, hopefully we'll have those folks hang up and we will be able to have a conversation. So I'm going to stop the recording now and ask for questions.